Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. We're going to be talking about smartphone prices and how they could possibly affect a lot of people coming up here pretty soon in the future. Now, in the back side of things, like the way things are running on the smartphone world, um, there's price increases that are happening, and it's not really hitting everyone yet. But there are new phones coming out, and we're going to want them. And we tech enthusiasts are going to want them. Not every consumer is going to buy a phone this year. The numbers are a lot lower than what we probably would think they are, but not everybody is buying a phone every year. So there's a high number of people that definitely do, and they do trade-ins and things like that, which is the reason that they're able to buy a new phone every year. So a couple of things I like to talk about in this video and introduce you just the idea what would happen. So in some countries, there are no trade-in deals. In some countries, there's no monthly payments. In some countries, you just have to buy it. And if you don't have the money to buy it, you don't get it. So first, I want to tackle that. What do you think would happen if the U.S. market moved to that type of basically just all prepaid for everything? What do you think the market would be like? I think the market would first dip really hard. Like companies would lose a lot of money. Some companies will go out of business more than likely um, because with all the credits and things like that that are given and all the trade-in deals, it makes buying a phone in the U.S. fairly easy. Um, and it also keeps people locked in, and it makes companies feel like they're making these great phones and they're making these great products and that they're doing very well. When in reality, folks, a lot of people would not even make any of these purchases if they didn't get those trade-in credits. They just wouldn't do it. And I'm one of them. For certain phones, I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be worth it to me. Now, it would be from a creator standpoint. Yeah, it would be worth it because I see the return on the product as soon as I buy it. I put up a video, I look in, I see the revenue I'm making off of this product, and so on. But for the regular consumers, that's not the case. Regular consumers aren't making any return on their smartphone purchases. It's actually like buying a car. It's a bad investment. Unless you get it really low from the beginning and then you end up keeping it forever, and then selling it later and then making some of the it's just not good. It is it's not an asset that's gonna bring you any kind of revenue unless you're using it for business purposes. How about that? But most consumers are not using their personal cell phones for business. It's just for fun, or it's just a way to communicate. It's just a way to have an item that they need. It's essential to them. But what would it be like if, in fact, we went to that type of society? Everything's prepaid. There's no discounts. There's no trade-ins. You just need to buy it, and if you have it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. I think we'd see a huge decline in profit for tons of companies. I mean, tons of OEMs. Yeah, because look at it this way. Why did you buy the iPhone 14 when you had the iPhone 13? Why did you buy the iPhone 14, 15 when you had the 14? Why did you buy the 16 when you had the 15? Why did you buy the S25 Ultra when you had the S24 Ultra? There's going to be a reason in there that's probably something to where you just really didn't need to. You did it because you could. And the U.S. market, um, it sounds bad to say it out loud. It sounds weird and almost bad to say it out loud, but we need to be shaken up like that because these companies are not making these phenomenal phones like they think they are. They're not making spectacular leaps in an area where it's just so great that the next product is better. It's just that the deals that they put out there or the trade-in values or some kind of credit to help eliminate the pressures for a lot of people in the world of paying this $1,900 straight out for a smartphone. Yeah, yeah, that's really what it is. Let's go ahead and move. Let's also look at it here. The In those examples that I just gave you are great examples. Okay, so why buy a next version of a phone or device if it's definitely not beneficial to you for a regular consumer? Most consumers are just upgrading or changing because it's not really that major of an upgrade because they can. But if all the pressure went back to the consumer and the OEM said, we're not taking trade ins, you buy this phone, this is it. We don't want it back. We're not taking it back. You know how much money the OEMs will make probably by not taking trade ins? Because they sell them off to a third party company anyway. But reality is, you know how much money they could have back if they just, there was just no trade ins, just no credits or anything. They would make less money, but they would still gain. Yeah, they will make money. So look at it this way. The most famous trade-in program and the probably one of the best trade-in programs is Samsung's trade-in programs. Samsung's trade-in program is so good, even I switch every year and I do content creation. It's just worth it to trade in and get the new product for review and make even more money off of this new product when comparing it to the old product. It's just simple math. Easy business plan here. I only bought the S25 Ultra because the trade-in deal was that great. I only bought the previous gen because the trade-in deal was that great. I didn't buy the Pixel Fold because the trade-in deal was trash. Do you see what I'm saying? So from a creator standpoint, I'm going to move like that if I have an opportunity to. Why not? Why not? And then I'm going to buy as low as possible. I'm going to buy smartphones at full cost if they're very affordable. If they're under $400, probably going to go ahead and buy it. Okay, let's just say five. If they're under 500, I'm probably going to grab it because the return on that will come at some point. And if it's a phone that everyone's interested in, I'll get the return back in the same week. Like for what I pay for the phone, it'll come back to me in the same day or the same week, depending on what the revenue's looking like. But as a whole in society, companies in the US market make themselves like they're doing so great and they're really innovating and we sold 9 million phones. Yeah, because you offered a trade-in value on a previous generation and it helped eliminate some of the pressures of out of pocket for the consumer. And then also you have trade-in programs that make it easier to just keep swapping out and you'll have as an OEM a continuous steady flow of income. Yeah, you're doing trade-ins, you're taking your old phone back, but you've already sold that old phone on the third-party market. You've gotten all that money back, and you have another sale from the same consumer on a monthly basis because this is how they're paying for the devices. Yes, this is happening every year. So it sounds like I'm kind of going against the grain here. I'm trying to fire up something that we don't need, or we should keep it this way. It's better for us to keep being able to trade in every month or every year and get these new devices. But and it's not to take a shot at any one particular person who's watching, but most of you cannot afford to pay for these $2,000 phones or these $1,700 phones comfortably at one time because you're buying like five. You're like one for each member of your family. You're buying one for you and your spouse. You're buying a 1 terabyte version of something when you don't really need a 1 terabyte version of something. You got it because the alignment was there. You didn't spend as much money out of pocket. You had all these credits you can trade in. That is how our market works. I would love to see how it really would be. Yeah, so these tariffs that might hit smartphones will eliminate a lot of buyers. Let's be clear. And again, this is just reality, folks. If you can't sit, okay, I want an R34, but they're like $600 to $1 million. Can't do it. That'll be a big chunk of my life savings. It's not smart. I like cars. So I can dibble and dabble. I'm not sharing my personal. I can dibble and dabble in cars that are 150, maybe 200,000 comfortably, outright. I have the titles to my cars. I try not to finance or lease cars and finance. I try to buy out especially if it's under 100,000. I just want to buy it. I'm not in the same bracket with a lot of people. A lot of people don't do this. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're wasting money. This is just a side note on that, right? Because people often ask me, dang, how many cars do you have? It's not as many as you think. Maybe 5, I think. 4 now. But some people, how did you do that? How did you do that? It's no special trick. I have stellar credit, but I don't finance cars if I don't have to. The only cars I have right now is that new Dodge Charger EV that's on a lease. I had never leased a car in my entire life. I'm glad I leased that particular car because it has been breaking down on me left and right. If you're on my car channel, you're following me over there. Go see the full story over there. But yeah, it's been a nightmare. I also got hit by a drunk driver in that car. It's just been a mess. So that particular car was my first lease, and then that's the first time I've been hit by a drunk driver. This is a bunch of all these things I want to be my last. You know what I'm saying? But in that regard, when it comes to like smartphones, you have to set a limit. So most of the time when I'm getting a car, I'm getting a car that is very limited in production that I know I can sell it later and get a profit if I decide to, or I'm getting it at a really good price, like such a good price that I'm winning right out the gate. Case in point, one of my latest purchases was about 3 months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, my 2025 Performance Model 3. I got my car $54,000, $55,000 before taxes, and $55,000 before any kind of incentives. Um, I had so many credits and referrals. I got my car with all the incentives and military and everything for $35,000. Without anything, it came to a little over $60,000 with taxes. I got a great deal. I don't mind saying it. And if I decide to sell the car later, I'm not going to sell it for 35. I'm going to sell it for maybe 45, 40, anything above what I paid for it. Yeah. And I also have cars in the garage I just don't show. I have I have several 25s that I just don't show. I get them for a good my I won't get into that, but let's get back to smartphones. As a creator, I'm trying to buy smartphones as low as possible. And then if I need to sell the smartphone later, it won't be so bad. I just need to keep making content on these phones. They pay for themselves, and I get to have all the newer products. As a consumer, you don't have that luxury. You don't have the option. You still are in a space where you're having to pay for the things monthly. This is why I say don't do what I'm doing. You settle in on that phone, watch me, and kind of get the idea of how you want to, which phone you want, and which phone is going to suit you. But don't buy every phone I buy. You won't be able to keep up because I'm getting paid just for doing this video, and it's paying for phones. So watch creators, watch influencers, and just watch them. You settle in on whatever phone you want to get, and you take care of that phone, and you use it until it breaks. That is the real way our economy will flip, is if the trade-in programs go away, even if prices increase, trade-in programs go away, or prices increase, trade-in programs go away, no more discounts, you'll see people with the same phone until it's just, no, it's going to be on the speaker, it's going to be held on by tape. No one wants to pay $400 to $2,000 to $2,500 for a phone. Anything outside of that, folks, it's just influencers and creators doing this in these lump sums, because we're making money back. You're not getting your money back from your cell phone. So, but if you can afford to do it, because there are some people that can afford to do it, I should say, they just choose not to. The phones are not that important to them. They buy a phone. Raise your hand in the chat if you've had the same phone and this is your only phone. This is going to be a small group of people too. I know some people will try it, but this number is way smaller than what people might say it is. Raise your hand in the chat if you've been using the same phone for at least 5 years. That number is 0.00001%. I know it is, because you have all these things at your disposal to help to make you believe that you're getting a better phone every year, when in reality, you're doing the same thing you did on the previous phone. The new iPhone could possibly cost $2,500 or so. It's going to do the same thing that the phone I'm recording with is doing with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It's going to do the same thing that this phone does. It's just going to look different. This is where we are when it comes to the US market. We are so convinced that we are getting a better phone every year. And even though the tactic now is to say, well, we didn't raise the price, let's use Apple. Let's talk about Apple for a second. Apple used to give some really good trade-in deals. Like they would give you like $900 on a trade-in on the previous generation phone. Well, Apple said, screw that. We don't want these phones back. So now, if you go price my 512 gig 16 Pro Max, um, which I paid what? I paid what, 1,500 or something like that for this phone? 1,600? I don't remember. Outright. I didn't have any trade-ins. There's no trade-ins for me. It prices now less than a year later, what, $600, something like that. But that doesn't matter to me. And it shouldn't matter to you. You shouldn't buy phones with the thought that you're going to sell it the next year. You should only be buying phones if you plan on keeping it until it falls apart. This should be the end goal. But marketing plays a part. They start telling you, ooh, your phone can't do this. And I've also heard stories of consumers saying that Apple's sending updates, slowing down their phones intentionally and or killing the battery off so they can bring it in for a new phone. Apple Care. Apple Care is amazing. It's insurance. $10, $13 a month, lost, stolen, broken, get another one. But with everything, there's gonna be some fine print. Now, tariffs. This conversation has been going on for a while, and prices have increased. It just hasn't hit us yet. And when it does, we're going to really appreciate the A lineup, the E lineup. We're going to just appreciate phones that are doing the same thing. We might even see a shift in the market. We might see a shift where everything becomes about the most affordable phone. Because right now, you watched me do a video a while back on a $5,000 phone. Like I would never spend $5,000 on a phone. That is a serious depreciating asset. $5,000, I can put that on a something's talking on me. I can put that on the stock market or put it in an annuity and let it sit there and get and see some real return. But no diss to people who spend that kind of money on a smartphone. Even though I'm a tech lover, okay, I could do it only because eventually I'll make that money back. That's the thing. But I think you should just tread lightly when it comes to what's coming. If in fact happens, what I think is going to happen is that the market is going to take a huge price increase on smartphones, minimum $200, right? And then you got the phones that are supposed to be innovative that are going to drop. They're already way above everybody anyway. So what are we going to do with the pricing on those? Let's just say the iPhone comes out. It's a folding iPhone. It costs $2,500. Jay, you going to buy it? Absolutely going to buy it. Just live vicariously through me. It doesn't matter if you can afford it or not. Does your current iPhone do what you want it to do? The answer is yes. If you have a 16 Pro Max, you have the ultimate smartphone from Apple. If you have a 16 Pro, I have a 16 Pro, like smaller. If you have the Pro lineup, you have the ultimate smartphone from Apple. If you have the Galaxy S25 lineup, you have the ultimate lineup for slab phones from Samsung. If you have one of the best phones on the market, which I think is just top dog to me, the OnePlus 13 beats out so many phones when it comes to consumer value. It's incredible. You are actually getting the better end of the stick because you could do a trade-in on that phone currently, and I only paid $899 for mine, got a free smartwatch with no trade-ins. And that has turned out to be the best smartphone purchase I have made. It costs $1,000 out of pocket for me. However, the user experience and the overall value that I know I'm getting when comparing it to my $1,500, $1,600 iPhone that I'm recording with. You see what I'm saying? I think I really feel like when this shift happens, you'll see a lot of people probably, if in fact it does come true, if we do see a 2000, and let's be clear, let me be fair here. We're not going to just say that Apple's overcharging people. What did the first folding phone from Samsung cost? $2,000. We gave them $2,000. Why can't I give Apple $2,000 for their first folding? And then, sadly enough, the pricing isn't $2,000 anymore on the folding phones, but it's close. It's basically right there, but it hasn't changed anything. They're just bringing out the same phone over and over again. Um, One of the best folding phones in the game, the OnePlus Open, right? Doesn't cost $2,000, doesn't get the same kind of recognition or marketing or anything. It just sells. And I personally felt like it sold very well, that they were like, we're still selling them. I'm not bringing out another one. We can keep getting paid off of this one. I think that's what happened, because I don't have very many complaints about the OnePlus Open. I really don't. It is an amazing device. But if I can give Samsung $2,000 for the first try, I can give Apple $2,000 for the first try. I really hope that Apple brings out a folding phone. I really do. It makes it the trend for others to increase the pricing on their folding devices. But it seems to always set the standard for some people. In some people's point of view, Apple sets the rules for certain things. And that's just what it is. Some people view it that way. I think there are phones on the market that are much better than the iPhone 13 Pro. Case in point, I would take my 13. I was going to say I'll take my 13 Pro Max over the 16 Pro Max. It has a SIM card. It does the same thing. Yeah, the cameras look just as good. Mine still works like brand new. And I use it. And there are phones out there that are better than the 16 Pro Max. I like my OnePlus 13 better than my 16 Pro Max. And it costs almost half in price. Yeah. But what's going to happen when the market shifts? What's going to happen to us if carriers say, hey, no more trade-ins, OEMs say no more trade-ins, sell your phones? Here's one thing will happen. Craigslist will take off again. Craigslist and places like that will take off again. I remember selling so many things on Craigslist, and you get that cash in hand. That's a done deal. Those are great. Those are great. Unfortunately, you got people meeting people, trying to kill people and stuff. It's just idiots out there robbing people. You got to go strapped just to sell your $600 phones. Pathetic. But if this does happen, and we will see the increase across the board, like we will see it. Like currently, what does, I'm going to open up my phone here. I'm going to go to, let's just use Google for a second. Let's go to store.google.com. All right. So let's go to phones, and let's just use the current, let's use this phone, which is right here. This phone in my hand is, let's take this case off, the Iris 256 gig, wonderful, phenomenal. This phone is $599. Here's what a tariff increase or price increase would look like to me. This could possibly happen. This now $599 phone becomes $799, $899, which then in turn, the Pixel 9 lineup, the other phones go up $200 to $300. Can you imagine spending? I'm going to go back to this now. Let's go to the phones that people are buying a lot of, and that is the Pixel 9 Pro XL. It starts at $899, unfortunately, for 128 gig, which is a joke at this point. This is stupid. Well, you can get this phone right here. I know it's not a Pro model, but folks, comparing the two, this phone is just as good. It's a sad conversation. It starts at $899. It does. It goes up to a 1 terabyte, which is 1350. Can you imagine spending a starting price of $1,100 for 128 gig pixel? And it's on sale, by the way. I should be clear here. It's on sale for $899. Can you imagine spending $1,400 on a 128 gig phone? All your credits and everything. Yeah, they're doing a Mother's Day sale right now, by the way. So they're doing $200 off the phones. Can you imagine spending $1,400 on a 128 gig phone? Okay, we're going to discount it to $1,100 for Mother's Day next year, since they're doing a sale. The original price of the 1 terabyte is $1,550. $1,550. It's on sale for $1,350. Can you imagine spending $1,850 on a Google Pixel? Folks, if in fact this becomes the norm, I think what we're going to see is more conversation videos. And the only people reviewing these high-priced phones telling you that they're great is going to be people that got the phone at no cost. Keep it a buck. I used myself as an example earlier on in this video, I believe. The Google Pixel Fold. I think I talked about it. I didn't buy this current generation Fold, not because Google didn't send it to me, because I always buy the Pixels anyway that Google doesn't send. And I went and bought the entire lineup anyway. But I didn't buy the Pixel Fold because the trade-in value wasn't good. I'm a content creator. They were offering like $620 on the previous generation Fold. And again, I do not separate myself because I do content creation. I still have to swipe my card like everybody else. You know what I mean? So when I saw that trade-in value, I was like, oh no, there's no way I'm giving. And the OG Pixel, it's decent. It has a lot of shortcomings, but it's still decent. Not that short to where I'm going to give it away and take a huge hit on a loss just because I want the next best thing. And then end up getting a sponsor later on down the line. Yeah, I don't even really, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold just wasn't that impressive. The Apple Fine N is better. The V3, the Honor V3 is better. Tons of other phone. This phone is still better. Yeah. So I dodged a bullet by not trading in. But I trade in every year for some phones. Like the Z Fold 5 to the Z Fold 6. I remember saying, don't do it. But when I saw the trade-in value and I got like $1,600 off, yeah, the phone was $1,900, but still, that was a freebie. Come on. That was a freebie. And then on the return, make all the money back. The cycle continues. Make even more. So if in fact we do get to the point where smartphones cost $300 to $500 more next year, because companies like DHL have already stopped shipment for products that are under $800 or something like that, I think it is, or over. It's one of the two. You can do your own research. DHL is the company that brings in a whole bunch of stuff from overseas. Like they got that contract. They bring in nearly everything that comes from over there. And they said, no, we're stopping this portion here. We're not going to do this. We're done. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when phones average $1,500. Sales will plummet. The only thing that's going to keep sales alive is trade-in values, credits, Mother's Day sale. Because I was reading off the pricing with the discount. That's the only way these companies will make anything on return, because I'm not going to promote and advocate that you run out and spend $2,500 on the folding iPhone when, yeah, I paid $2,500 for this folding iPhone, but I got it back already. And then I'm still making money every time you watch my video on it. We're in 2025 right now, into April at the recording of this video. The iPhone drops next year. It costs $2,300 before taxes. They'll say it costs $22.99. It's the best iPhone ever, if in fact whenever it drops. With taxes, for me, it's about $2,500. I buy the phone with my 0 interest rate credit card. A&A plus credit score club, where you at? I buy it. I do content on it. It gets a ton of views. The click-through rate is perfect. Some people even buy one because of my video. My phone's paid for right away. It's paid for, and I'm just going to continue to push out content on it because it is an expensive phone. And I need to get that return back. So I got mine back. But I will not feel comfortable promoting and telling you that you should buy it. I say it all the time. I say, just live vicariously through me. Don't be embarrassed by that. I have hundreds of phones, right? And I tend to keep the latest generation of phones and maybe the second gen, and then I'll sell off everything else. I don't hold on to the phones anymore. I used to be a phone collector. I do have some phones that I do collect. I don't pull them out very often. Every now and then I'll pull out my Axon, fire it up, use it for the weekend. Axon 7, by the way. I'll fire up some phones and use them, but they're collectors. I just like to look at them and look back on like, man, that was so much fun. That's it. I don't sell those phones, nor would I ever. But most of the time, full transparency, I'm only about 2 or 3 generations back. Maybe. I'm selling all that stuff. I don't want to have my storage full like it used to be, and there's no value there for me. One of those batteries could pop. It could be anything. So I have to go in and power on all these phones every now and then. I got tired of doing that, so I'm going to sell these phones. Right now, I'm only 3 generations back on the current lineup of phones, meaning I have the previous 2 generations in most situations on most of the things that I have, whether that be laptops, phones, tablets, TVs, whatever it is. Now headphones are different, earbuds. I have a ton of those, and I'm not getting them to collect them because the majority of them were sent to me for review. And so what I'll do is I'll give those away. I'll just give them away to people, random people. I'll just give it to them. Family members, everybody in my family has a premium set of headphones, thanks to all the content I get in for review. But I personally cannot comfortably promote a $2,500 phone and tell you to buy it. I just told you how I'm going to get it, and I told you how I'm going to comfortably move on to the next $3,000 phone. If it were to come to that, I have to really be interested. But the truth is, I am interested in a folding iPhone. I just am. I'm interested in it. What are you going to do when the market takes that turn? Here's my prediction on this. The market shifts. Now, maybe the market doesn't get hit. Maybe the cell phone market flips, turns around, and there's no tariffs. There's no high pricings on smartphones. Doubt that, but what if it just doesn't and everything just gets better for us? Woo! We're now getting these. Everybody wants these phones for $200, and it's a 100 megapixel camera and a 7,000 milliamp hour battery and a quad HD 4K display. Just everything. You're getting it all for $350 now. Yeah. But what are you going to do when the market shifts and you no longer can get financing on your phone through a carrier? Phones cost $1,500 to start. The base model's $1,500. What are you going to do? I predict a lot of people will have the same phone going forward. They will not switch. And the market will severely crash for smartphones. All you're going to see is influencers telling you they're great, and then they'll make a video saying why not to buy it. Same routine. But OEMs, the US market doesn't want to take that kind of risk, I believe. They'll always offer trade-in values probably to try to make it seem like they're giving you a great deal. But if it were to happen and there are no trade-in deals, there's no credits, there's only a sale every now and then, and you have to flip the bill for your product, no more financing on carriers. Carriers are holding the note on those, man. What you gonna do? You're gonna hold on to the phone that you already have. And that thing is gonna become the best. This way we'll start to see what the best phone really is. Because it's always the one you're holding, right? The one that you chose to purchase. Yeah, yeah. I it's bad, but I almost welcome that. I remember saying, if you don't recall, I remember saying that the review field should be leveled. If you get to a certain point in your YouTube career or status, you're invited into a place where you can buy any of the upcoming phones at the same price, but we had to buy it. It's not given to us. That will eliminate a lot of people because a lot of people will not spend 500 a pop, 1,000 a pop as a creator. Creators' goals, most content creators, is to get everything at no cost. I would tell you, great. That should be your end goal, is to get as many products as you can without coming out of pocket for them, and then you can make return on the revenue if your content is viewable and good enough for people. You know what I'm saying? So that should be a goal for you as a content creator for whatever you're doing, whether it's cars, clothing, shoes. You don't want to come out of pocket to review something that you probably are only going to use a couple times. If it becomes your main thing, yeah, great. But most situations, reviewing products, it's overwhelming. And then adding on top of that, having to pay for them out of pocket gets even more overwhelming. So shout out to today's sponsor, takeadaygiveaway.com. Hit the link in the description. Get in on the giveaway so you do not have to pay $2,000 for a smartphone. You don't have to do it. It's also a Nintendo Switch down there too, I believe, still. Hit that link in the description. Scroll to the bottom of the page. See the current giveaways from your man, Jay. Now, with that, tell me what you think about phones increasing $300 to $500 in price starting next year. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.